Yeah, so my name is Erica Mason. I make music for the soul. I've been on a journey of just discovering who I am, and in the process, music has been the way that I communicate about my journey. Um, I initially released my first album. I want to say that was back in like 2024, maybe 23. It's called For the Soul. It was really just about like me coming into the awareness of like my wellness journey and trying to find, I think that first initial step of like, oh, okay, I've been being someone that I'm not. And it's just an acknowledgement album. And this album is called The Return, where that awareness has kind of metamorphosized.
Wow, that's
You
a crazy word.
appreciate that.
Okay.
It has metamorphosized into the highest version of myself and me having encounters and moments of that. And so this album is called The Return, where I wouldn't even say the highest, but the most authentic version of myself is here.
You got ahead of my question. I just said tell us who you are, but you got into my question about what's different from the last album to this album. So, how would you describe that in 3 words? What's different between, because your music is very indicative of where you are in your life.
Yeah, for sure.
What are 3 words that could describe the difference between For the Soul and The Return?
For the Soul was about being transparent. It was about saying what I was always afraid to say. And it was about just trying to figure it out. It was an album of just honesty and vulnerability. The Return is about acknowledgement of who the fuck I am, acceptance. It's about confidence. I know you said 3 words, but
You can give us more. It's your show.
it's godly.
Yes.
It's divine. It is, in essence, me. Yeah.
Okay. I love that. So let's get into some of the songs.
Okay.
Let's talk about the very first song, which is Moving. I know that this is on streaming platforms and the people have had a taste of the album.
Yeah.
So tell us about Moving.
Moving is one of the first songs that actually made it on the album. It kind of set the tone for the album. I remember Aro and I were in the studio and he just started playing this sample. It was a jazz sample and we fell in love with it. Next thing you know, he started putting some drums behind it. Whatever. That's probably not the drum pattern, but you know, the like for moving like that, right? And when he played that, I was like, oh shit, okay, we cooking with something. So I actually didn't write it then that day because we had like pumped out 4 or 5 songs in the session. But I went back home and I sent it to him the next day and I was like, all right, bro, I think we got one. And that was a song that really is about understanding that life is going to have its ups and its downs, but just because things happen to you, it doesn't mean that it defines who you are, and it should immobilize you or paralyze you. And so moving talks about moving through adversity, moving through the discomfort of life, understanding that things are just going to happen because life will do what it does at times, but it doesn't have to define you. So where you are in this season and in this moment does not define who you are. And so it's kind of like this intersection of coming from For the Soul album where I'm just being honest and life feels like it's just kind of hitting me in all different directions to this transitional moment of saying, okay, but keep moving. So when I say gotta keep moving, life train ain't stopping, hopped in this bitch and I said what's popping. Like that is a declaration of like, I'm not stopping regardless to whatever things externally are happening because I can control my internal world. And as I control my internal world, my external world has to come into alignment with that. Because of my God nature.
That is personally probably my favorite song on the album.
Yeah.
So thank you for that.
For sure.
Let's get into royalty. I want to pause a second to kind of acknowledge what is happening in the transition between the next few songs because I don't think I've ever heard you sound so confident in your music.
For sure.
It's very much been about life is happening to me and toiling through the emotions of that experience, and now we're getting this confident you. So I want to put royalty and feeling myself together because they have a similar tone to me. And I want to understand, like, what was it like to develop that, the part of you that could create that sound, because again, your music is directly connected to your lived experience.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. I feel like my most authentic self jumped in my body and said, I got this song. I got it. Let me write that. And it said, I'm too rich to be broke. Tell my bank account it better catch up to my soul. I felt like my highest, most authentic, most godly self said, I'm going to write this song for you. Because I remember with royalty, I was stressing about money. And it's very easy to stress about money in our society, capitalistic society. And one of the things that I have been working through is just understanding like who I am as a person and recognizing that I have the ability and power to control my circumstances and situations. And what I mean by that is working on my internal self, my thoughts, my belief systems, like how I approach and look at certain situations, right? And so as I'm walking, because I got a call saying I owe some money or whatever, and I'm walking outside, and that's why I felt like, again, my highest self said, bitch, I got this song as I'm playing the music. And when that mother hit me and said, I'm too rich to be broke, I was like, ooh, snap, something is cooking. So I say that to say, like, I feel like that version of me who I've always been kind of jumped in the seat. And so going back to what is called the return in the songs, when you say you've never heard me as confident or whatever, that version of me is in the driver's seat in this album. And she is like talking her shit, you know what I'm saying? And so then we go into feeling myself. And again, it's like my highest self just jumped in my body and said, I woke up feeling like that nigga, feeling like a god with a 5'3" figure. For a minute, I forgot who I was, but I had to reconfigure. Now, the only thing that haters see me coming is a mirror. Because I'm going to do a double take every time. Renewing my mind, just open my eyes. I'm parking lot ticket fine, fresh off the lot. You learn who you are when you learn what you're not.
Okay.
I've been loving myself with intention. Because low self-esteem is way too expensive. Niggas go broke for opinions. But I bought some confidence, learn how to spend it. So I can't be humble today. Because I know I'm her and I'm taking up space. Just look at this space. Ooh, yeah.
Okay.
And that's something that I never would have really have written or kind of treaded on the lines of like, damn, am I sounding too arrogant? Like, am I coming off too cocky? And yeah, so that's kind of where I've been in that space. I hope that answered the question, but
yeah, definitely answered the question. But I want to understand that space in between where you are and you say your higher self said, I'm gonna jump in and kind of tap dance on these songs.
Yeah.
But what is the embodiment of that life?
Yeah.
Because it's one thing to write this as a proclamation or my higher self wrote this. How is the process of actually embodying that person and like living from that space?
I mean, yeah, it's been a daily walk. So I remember I journaled before I started this whole album process. I wrote this journal and I felt like I gave myself permission to have a conversation with my most authentic self. And in this letter, I wish I had a letter today, but in this letter, I remember writing, I'm going to live my life as if I am already her. And for the next 12 weeks or something like that, I was like, I'm just going to, if I got to feel delusional doing it, or I'm going to think like how she would think, I'm going to feel like how she would feel, I'm going to dress like how she would dress. And so at first it kind of felt like kind of being around a stranger that you kind of like feel like, you know, you ever meet that person or you're like, I feel like I know you, but I don't fully know you. So embodying that felt like, okay, this is new for me, but it also at the same time, it feels natural for me, but it's still kind of new. So I would be walking around and just with the mindset, oh, nah, money love me. And that was the first version of royalty, actually. I said, money love me, it be stalking. I get the check just for talking. And I would say that all the time, where it was just like me exercising what this authentic version of me looked like and felt like. Like, I started to almost be delusional. Like, I could not allow myself to even think like, oh, I'm broke, because I'm not broke. That version of me is just not broke. That version of me is so abundant, and it's not about finances, but it is really about an abundant energy. And so I started playing a character and realized that, oh, I'm actually her. Yeah.
Do you realize that it's really delusional being the conditioned version of yourself?
It's very delusional being the conditioned version.
And that 12-week actually was an opportunity to put on your own shoes and break them in.
For sure.
Okay, got it. Cool. Let's get into gimmies.
I got the gimmies.
Yes.
So I've been rapping in all these acapellas, so just let me have it with my lyrics. I got the gimmies. So give me my money and give me some love, and I want it plenty.
Yeah.
And give me some what? You don't know the lyrics, do you?
Just stop my song. So I'm not top of my head. No, if the song is on, I got it.
I be barely knowing my lyrics. It's okay.
Exactly.
But the song Gimme's actually came from a very natural place. I was doing the dishes, and I just kind of, again, like, I feel like these songs are moments where my authenticity just kind of comes out of, like, in the most simplest ways. And so I was doing the dishes, and I was like, bro, I don't feel like doing these dishes. I want, like, a person that can come and clean my house when I want. And then I started just thinking of, what are all the things that you just want? And I just started listing them. And as I'm listening to the beat, I'm like, you know what? I got the gimmies. Like, give me everything. I want it all. Yeah. I'm collecting shit like the rent dude. Coming with the right drive, like 10 and 2. And everything that I lost, I'm coming for that too. Nice. You just got that. Like 10 and 2. You just got that.
That's nice. Okay.
Yeah.
I particularly love gimmies. Mm-hmm. I like the vibe. I like everything that you're saying. It definitely feels like a song that postures you. For, like, that worthiness piece that a lot of people struggle with.
And in the second verse, I dare to say, I'm about to ask for the absolute most, because I always do the most without asking. Always giving with no take backs. If it ain't what I want, then baby, I'm passing. I want good credit in a 6-pack and still eat good like a big bag.
Hello, that's exactly what I need. I think we all need that. We all want that and desire that.
Facts.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So it's just the energy of just saying, like, I'm declaring what's mine. Like, it's okay to want things, and it's okay to, like, just proclaim the things or speak the things that you want. So, yeah.
Have you always felt like you were worthy of things?
Nah.
Or worthy of all the things?
Nah, I've oftentimes felt like my desires were a bad thing. Like, to desire something is not good, or to want something, especially if it was vain or vanity. Like, I had this, I think, unhealthy attachment to suffering, and I think at a very subconscious level, when all you have seen is suffering, all you have known is suffering, the people around you are suffering, they're striving, they're hustling, they're constantly, like, on this hamster wheel, it almost creates this, like, subconscious feeling of things are not going to come by me unless I struggle for them or work for them really, really, really hard. And then to ask for vain things when I could be asking for survival things, right? Like, it felt uncomfortable at first, but it also was like this reclamation of, like, nah, it's okay to ask for things. Like, if you want it, like, let it be known that this is a desire. And it was one of those things where I had trouble with communicating my needs and being honest and just saying, like, this is what I would like, or this is what I need, especially if that need had nothing to do with survival. If it was just a need, really a want, if it was just a want, I felt like I didn't have space or wasn't worthy to want things, because, probably because a lot of my needs I didn't realize were, like, I felt like they weren't met. And so, or having to strive to meet those needs, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
I mean, I could go into breaking down that particular lyric, but
you can go ahead.
I can appreciate.
Break it down.
Talk about, I'm gonna ask for the the most.
I'm going to ask for the absolute most because I always do the most without asking.
Right. And I think that second part is where a lot of people get caught up in the proving and the performance of life in themselves, to be like, I'm going to do all these things and show up this way because I want to be chosen. I want to feel like I'm worthy. And then understanding on the front end of that is like, I don't have to do the most.
Facts.
Period. Like,
Facts.
I'm worthy of this just because.
Yeah, and it is a song about worthiness, but exercising it through using your voice to say what you want.
Yep, love that. Open that throat chakra. Okay, so let's get into, because we start to hit a transition in the album, but the song before we get to that transition is Been On It.
Yeah.
So talk to us about Been On It.
Been On It is such a fun song to me. It is where, again, my higher self is really in the driver's seat in this whole album, like I said. Been On It is this like fun way to just say I've been putting in the work, so that's why you see me getting fine. Like it literally starts out saying, they say your booty get
big when you find peace. Come in and release.
They say your booty get bigger when you find peace. That six pack start coming when you release. I put myself first and what? Unlock to find me.
Hello.
I lost everything, but thank God I found me. Because I don't force no more. I attract what I need. People come and people go when I release them with ease. I got peace and I paid a lot for it. So please don't try to spin the block because I'm not for it. Oh, Lord, teeth getting whiter because I smile more. I've been saying no and watching niggas frown more. You need to relax. All right.
I was just going to give you your space.
But yeah, it's just a fun song of saying, like, I've been putting in the work behind the scenes. And so the version of me that's showing up, people are like, damn, where you been at? Like, what's been up with you? Like, who is this person? Like, what's been on? When they ask me where I've been, baby girl, I've been on it. That's where I've been. Been working on myself. Yeah.
I love that. So now I feel like we're going into a different segment of the album.
Yeah.
That's this song. So we have Dark Times and Stay Ready.
Yeah.
So tell us about this transition.
Sure.
And then get into Dark Times and Stay Ready.
So the first batch of songs, again, it's like my highest self is like in the driver's seat, right? And so imagine it like a story where my higher self is like, man, give me the mic. I got it, da-da-da-da. And then I'm sitting here, that version of me that's kind of in the interim. It's like, okay, now let's actually tell the story because I kind of gave y'all the end first, right? And so as we transition, we go into this section of me going through the journey and doing the actual work. So this section is transitioning from saying, okay, my most authentic self, we gave y'all that first, but now let me kind of go back a little bit and tell you a little bit about how I got here. And so Dark Times is the first initial precursor to that.
So tell us about it.
Yeah.
Dark Times and Stay Ready together.
Okay, so, well, they're actually not the same in context, but Dark Times is really about going through that process of becoming. And it gets really lonely and dark in those moments at times. Becoming is very beautiful. The process is very beautiful. But there are moments, I believe totality, yes. But there are moments where it is dark and it is challenging and it can feel scary. And so Dark Times is kind of like a parallel between two, I guess, examples where dark times within yourself, but then also dark times within the world. And so we see, when I was writing this song, there were so many things that were just happening with our government, this administration and things. And so there's that element of saying, like, you were born for these dark times to let you know that just because it looks crazy out in the world, things look challenging, understand that you were built for this. Your existence here was built for this. And then also going into your internal seasons where it might feel dark, you were also built for those as well. Your shadow side is there and it exists for a reason. You were made to be able to come out of these things, to get through it, but then get to the other side. And so dark times is essentially just affirming that even in the darkness, you were built to shine through it. So yeah, and then Stay Ready, one of my favorite songs on the album, because essentially it's talking about like, oftentimes we'll go through these moments where we're like, all right, I'm going to pray and I'm going to fast and I'm going to prepare. But when you live a lifestyle of wellness, when you live a lifestyle of like development and just honoring who you are, you don't have to get ready. You already are ready. Like, you stay in that posture. And I think you create you made such a great, I don't know if it's slogan or whatever you call it, but when you talk about devotion over discipline and the wellness journey being more about a devotion to yourself, a devotion to your journey, a devotion to whatever like spiritual connection that you have, like that is what Stay Ready really is about. It is a consistent pursuit of myself and being devoted to that version of me.
When I think about Stay Ready, I appreciate both of these songs because I think it speaks to the expansiveness of our human experience.
Yeah.
It's not always meant to be daytime, and it's not always meant to be night. And I think the expectation of always wanting to be in the day can really mess us up, and also staying stuck in the dark can mess us up as well. So it's about being able to be flexible enough to reside in all of the colors. Not just night or dark. But in Stay Ready, it makes you think about self-trust. Like, self-trust is a readiness tool that doesn't really matter the circumstance. I trust me enough to be able to maneuver and process through whatever it is.
Yeah.
So yeah, I love that for sure. The reason why I put those two songs together is because I think the next song needed to stand alone, and that's Holy Water.
Yeah. All these songs can stand alone, technically.
They can. But let me tell you from my listening experience, okay? There are some songs that really stand out.
Yeah, this song definitely stands out on the album. Absolutely. For sure.
So tell us about this song.
Holy Water. Such a artistic song that, man, we redid this song maybe about 5 different times because I felt like what was happening was you have, again, this almost authentic version of me, right? You have Erica, who is kind of in the middle, going through the process. And then you have ancestral lineage. And I think a part of the return is connecting spiritually with Source, God, whatever people would describe that as, but then also paying homage to my ancestral lineage. A lot of the women in my family are very, very potent and powerful women as it pertains to just spiritual things. And I've had such a level of connection with the matriarchs spiritually within my family, women that I don't think I've never met, but I feel their presence within me. And so when Holy Water came about, I knew that I wanted to bridge the Wade in the Water spiritual hymn with the concept of the church and where we are, especially the Black church. Because we understand that Wade in the Water is a spiritual hymn that the water symbolized this passageway to liberation. And when we think about how holy water is represented as in the church, it is this holy substance that you take and you become liberated. It is the thing that sets you free. And what I'm essentially saying is what we have used to know as this source of liberation in this space where we used to come for refuge has now become toxic. It has now become more about religion than it has become about connection. And I am just I feel like writing the story or saying the things that my ancestors, my grandmothers, my grandmother that I did know was actually saying. And so it says, there's something in the water, baby, I cannot deny it. If this the living well, tell me why the people dying. They say it's holy water, but it's something that they hide in. Yeah, it's something that they hide in, so they pour it up and drink. They just pour it up and drink. And
sorry. We're going there next.
But just, yeah, like, okay, cool. Well, they pour it up and drink. And so essentially what that is just kind of saying is that it's a call out to the church of saying, especially the Black church, and saying that if you gonna say that you got holy water, let it actually be liberating the people. Liberate the people.
Right.
Liberate them. And it is saying that I think that if God, Jesus, were here, I feel like God would also be singing that same thing. So yeah.
Again, one of my favorites.
Why is it your favorite?
I think for me, it has to be the ancestral piece. I think that we come from one of the groups of people who have a unique connection ancestrally, where other cultures may not. And I think that we're in a time where we're being called to reconnect in a way. And I think this song is very much a portal to that, almost like an invitation to people to start to make that connection ancestrally and to show appreciation and gratitude for the prayers that were prayed over them before we were even breathing living things.
Yeah.
Prayers and dreams and hopes for us. So I think it's an invitation.
Yeah. It's great.
All right, so we're going into what feels like an emotional wave on the album. Okay?
You don't sound very excited about that.
Something I'm not excited about it. I think that there's always a place for it. So let's talk about it. We have tug of war, we have back and forth.
So I want to separate those songs.
Yes, absolutely.
So now we enter into another transition of the album. Yes. So I go from letting y'all know, like, okay, there's discipline here that's happening. There's me doing the work and in the process.
Yes.
And in the next space, it is really going into my heart of what that actually feels like in my body and feels like in my relationships as it pertains to experiencing relationships with people who are watching me go through this cocoon, and I am still wrestling with myself. I'm having moments where I'm not okay. I'm having moments where I feel like shit. I'm having moments where I am fighting with myself to become the best self that I can be in this space. And it has a lot of tension. It's not always just lollipops and rainbows. And so Tug of War was actually a writing assignment in a class that I had. And they just were like, write something that is really authentic to where you are right now. And I say I'm not quite who I was, but I am who I am. Yeah, I'm still arriving. The highest version of myself feels like she's still in hiding. Because there's a version of me that's not always striving and fighting to prove that I'm worthy of being invited to a table that's not built for me. She'd rather eat alone instead of protecting something. Yeah, she'd rather eat alone than protect her energy and something. So, all of that to say, those lyrics were honestly feeling like in moments where I was trying to be my most authentic self, the authentic version of me felt so far away because I had been so conditioned to be essentially an imposter for such a long time. And so it was kind of difficult to give up the seat. And so the first part of the album you see where she's riding, y'all like them, blah, blah, blah. And this is Erica in the middle who is wrestling to give up that seat. And Back and Forth is probably one of the most authentic songs that I feel like I created. It is
very, very honest.
It is a very honest song, and it talks about two sides of people who are experiencing someone they love go through mental health challenges. Back and Forth paints a picture of a person who is challenged with depression and a person who loves the person who is challenged with depression. And it talks about the tension that can happen in relationships when A person is just going through their own shit. You know what I mean? And how the people who are trying to love on them can feel boxed out, how they can feel isolated, but then also how the person who's actually going through it can feel alone, because it can sometimes feel like they are making it about them versus it being about their journey and their experience. And so it creates this understanding for both sides to say, you know I never call when depression gets the best of me, respectfully. I wish you didn't take it personal, right? But then it says you've been going through a lot and it's been hard to watch. It's like depression runs your life and it just never stops. And so it kind of creates this level of communication where the song really is about, we both love each other and we both want to stay connected. And in the midst of this hardship, let's find our way back to each other.
This song is an invitation in my mind in the same way that Holy Water is.
Mm-hmm.
I remember listening to this song and thinking that it was so great at depicting both sides of the experience. And personally, having been a person that is on the latter half of it, where it's like you're going through this struggle and I do not know what to do. It speaks to the helplessness on one end and a hopelessness on the other.
Yeah.
And it's such a beautiful way for those two people that often are on opposing sides of a conversation understand each other.
Yeah.
So I just thought that this song was absolutely 100% powerful. Like, so many people on both sides will feel singing this song. Okay, next we have Life Can Be Beautiful. Now, this song has an interesting cadence. Very much so.
Yeah.
So tell us about Life Can Be Beautiful.
Life Can Be Beautiful is, if we were to continue to run with the analogy of my most authentic self, you got me in transition, it would be the theme song of me holding hands with my most authentic self and reminding me that I understand. Like, I heard you with Tug of War. I know we have been back and forth, right? We've been going through it. But at the end of the day, when you let go, life is truly this essence and this beauty to be lived and to be explored and to be experienced. And the fact that the cadence is very different. I was in a session with Faro and he challenged me. He's like, I want you to do a different type of flow. Like, let's do a different type of cadence and the beats and stuff. And so when I did it, I just allowed myself to surrender. And what came out of that, the beat actually led me. And as I'm surrendering and listening and feeling this song, it brought up this gratitude and appreciation. And so that's when I started and I said, life can be a trip until you learn how to date her. When she gives you lemons, I make margaritas. Show a little gratitude, check my attitude. I ain't mad at you. The hands that I'm dealt, I never bust. I turn that shit into a royal flush. If it ain't life I'm speaking, then I hush. You know that I'm healing everything I touch. Because I don't get bitter, I just get better. Then I get it back because I'm so clever. Life is a game, I just play better. Anyways.
You know, you really be putting the words together.
I be trying.
You put the words together. Okay.
Yeah.
That's another one of my standouts. That's another favorite for me.
For sure.
So now we are transitioning. We've been on a beautiful journey of just kind of weaving through different versions of ourselves. And now we get to wrapping this thing up here. We get to God shit.
Man. Okay, so now I've taken y'all on this journey. The last part is we're going to have the conclusion. So this is in summary of the return. God shit is like the chapter before the conclusion. And it is basically just saying, baby, you are her. You are God. And that is very symbolic for me because my relationship with God, I felt like was never severed. But I always questioned based on how I was conditioned to know God, based on, compared to when I think about my most authentic self as a child without any like religious conditioning. I felt like I knew God at a very, very, very early age. I can't quite explain what that's like, or like explain it, I guess, logically. But I feel like I came into this earth with a very deep godly connection, almost as if I know I had been here before, but everything felt familiar yet looked different.
Yep.
And because of that, I've always had this relationship and sensitivity to things in the spirit world. But, you know, religion, church, of course, if that's presented to you, that's what you cling to.
Right.
And since coming out of the religious things, my relationship with source and with spirituality deepened. And so God shit is like saying, you went through all of this shit, but you are doing miracles. Like, you came out of depression and look at you now. Like, you saucy as fuck. Like, you you are like, you turned situations that would seem like impossible to get out of, and you not only survived, but you thrived. That's on some God shit type of level.
Right.
You can alchemize the things that your hands touch. You can create worlds with it. And so essentially it's going back to that internal nature of saying, like, when you truly understand how divine you are and the power that lives within you, and you understand that you can literally make worlds, realities can shift, the reality that you're living can literally change by the essence and the energy that you carry. That is where God shit is saying. It's saying, it's funny how the tables turn. People, they will love to see you crash and burn, but I turned the ashes into lessons learned. Wow, I'm on my God shit. And that is just saying, like, there's so many things that could have went wrong, or I could have done different things that would have kept me lower. But attaching to my godly nature has probably been one of the best things that I could have done. Not even attaching, but just awakening, I would say that.
I want to ask a question about the chapter before the conclusion.
Yeah.
With your experience with the church and having to bid farewell to that and kind of go on your own journey and deconstruct, do you feel as if God shit is... Well, let me not ask it that way. Let me ask it this way. Briefly, okay? What has your journey been in terms of reclaiming spirituality, belief systems, and what you believe for yourself? What has that looked like?
Yeah, I would say the biggest thing is just giving myself permission to trust me again. I think one of the most harmful things that I learned from the church is not to trust me. Because oftentimes we were taught that, like, you can't trust yourself.
Right.
Like, you gotta go outside yourself because you are a sinner and your ways are wicked and all of these things, right? And so it always created this insecurity that, like, maybe what I'm feeling is just not right, so let me go post check it with a leader, go post check it with somebody who is more spiritually authority, they're higher authority than me, right? And that really damaged my relationship because, like, with myself, because I, again, understanding who I was as a child, and the reason why I preface a child is because when I think back of when conditioning started, or I guess before all that, there were moments where in my natural nature as a child, or things that I went through that were just not normal spiritually, where I was not conditioned, meaning I was talking to God at a very, very young age where I didn't have language for what I was doing, right? Like, in God, source, whatever you want to call it. So really, I've always had this really deep seated discernment, connection, and like almost this spiritual umbilical cord to source. And what church did was, like, kind of, put a clamp on that, right? And going through this process of deconstructing and reconstructing it just kind of unraveled that cord so that things can flow from me into source and from source back to me, right? And so it's like, it has been such a beautiful journey because I've just given myself permission to trust what I feel, to trust what I see, to trust what I hear, because I am designed as a very highly sensitive person. There are things that I am just naturally can discern and privy to that from the church. I was taught like, you don't, you know what I'm saying, you don't go that way. Like, that's not okay. Like, go check with somebody. And then also just reclaiming certain spiritual practices that like I was taught was demons and demonic and things like that. Like just the simple things like incense. I was taught that that was demonic, along with like sage and all those other things. And so, and because I'm a very sensitive person, and I mean physically sensitive, like sensory sensitive, some of those things actually really help me as it pertains to regulating my nervous system so that I can be clear enough to hear what it is that source is saying. Because I'm a very sensitive person, using certain things as tools to help me to regulate like my physical external environment actually helps me to connect better with source. So yeah.
Okay, so now to the final chapter of the return book that we're in, and we are into big energy.
Big energy.
Yes, so I want to know a few things. I want to know about big energy and why is this the conclusion to the journey that you've taken us on?
Hey, what I look like playing small as big as I am. They say I think I'm that nigga. That's because I really am.
Hello.
Man, stop playing with me. Had to say that to myself. My biggest win was remember who the fuck I am. And that's on God, that's on mama and my ancestors. Because every fall was just teaching me how to stand better. Now I'ma stand for my better self. Therapy inside my music, feeling like some better help. Now I walk around, never let the crown tilt though. Say we're living in the last days, baby, this is what I've been built for. I'm the one that y'all sent for. Yeah. So, again, this is the conclusion. I'm trying not to say highest self because that's not actually the most accurate word that I'm trying to say, but like most authentic self jumped in to the last song in my body again. It was like, all right, we've been doing this little swing. I love you, dog, but let me go ahead and wrap this up. And so big energy was like me talking my big shit. It's like the most authentic me saying like, oh, I'm here and I'm here to stay. Like Lil E, it's no more Lil E. It's all big energy. And it's all big impact. It's all big sound, big music, big movement. Like I have been taught to play small. And the Leo in me is able to like peacock on that song because I've been taught to.
Peacock on the album?
Huh?
Your Leo is peacocking on the album?
I mean, yeah, the Leo.
Okay, we had to get it right.
The Leo is definitely peacocking on the album for sure, but most definitely on this song specifically, like I'm cussing more than I ever cussed. And just giving myself permission because I had, again, was conditioned to like not curse and things like that. Like it was against like religious rules to do so. And I actually never had a desire to. I really don't care to cuss now, but I have been exercising just my own liberation. You know what I'm saying? And saying like, I'm going to do this not because I want to make something sound like relevant or whatever. I was doing it because if it came up in me, I didn't want to just exit out. And so every curse word that is on this song and all the other songs was because that was a natural, visceral reaction. Could I have changed it? Absolutely. But I wanted to create whatever was authentically coming from me because I cuss in my personal life. So I just was like, I'm going to give y'all what it is. And so big energy is like the culmination of my like, woo, my own horn that is being tooted. Tooted, toot, toot, yeah. Toot, toot.
Okay. And I have to, the line where you're like, I had to stop playing with myself. I think that's where a lot of us, we need to come to that intersection. Because we often think that there's all these other people playing with us, but it's really, they're learning how to play with us from us.
Yeah.
Because we're allowing.
You teach people how to treat you.
Correct. You teach people how to play with you by you playing with you.
Yeah, that's
so
facts.
I really appreciated that line
that's
of that
facts.
song because it really is, it's a hard pill to swallow sometimes, but it's empowering at the same time. It's like, bro, they only playing with you because you play with you.
Yeah.
Now forgive yourself and stop fucking playing with you. Okay. So I want to get into, as we are wrapping this up, I want to close this with, because we have been having this conversation of like several different versions of Erica. So what would each version of you say to the people that are listening to the Return album? Like what do you think they would say?
So the version of me that was in transition, that is feeling like a leaf being blown in the wind, untethered, would say not that it's gonna be okay, but that you are. You are okay and you're good. And in those moments when you're going through, that can feel like a very dismissive expression. But the reason why I say that is because sometimes when life gets very loud, it's very easy to think, like, allow external voices and the external noise to be louder than the internal one. And what I am saying from the one in transition is that, like, it's loud right now, but continue to go within and trust the process because you're good. This is a part of it. It is a part of the journey. The chaos is a part of the journey, and it is okay. You will get through this. Just don't quit. Hire me, again, authentic me. It's like, pop your shit. Pop your motherfucking shit, because you've always been her. You've always been him, them, whatever your pronoun is. You that nigga and that bitch. And don't let nobody else ever make you forget or make you feel less than that. Because you got it, babe. You got it, babe. And it's just waiting for you to give yourself permission to actualize what you actually have and who you actually are. Album drops March 17th. Thank y'all for supporting. Love y'all. We out.